Welcome to Anime Chronicles, the channel where we bring to life the full story of every anime character and beyond. Today, we'll soar into the blazing skies with Charizard, one of the most iconic and powerful Pokémon of all time. From its legendary battles in the Pokémon anime and manga to its appearances in countless games and spin-offs, Charizard has become a true symbol of strength, pride, and fiery determination. We'll uncover its history, curiosities, and the many unforgettable moments that made this fire and flying type a fan favorite across generations. If you love exploring the origins and legacies of your favorite Pokémon, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us on this fiery journey through the world of anime and Pokémon. Charizard, known in Japan as Lizardon, is the final form of the Charmander line and one of the most recognizable silhouettes in all of gaming. A broad-chested orange dragon with a flame burning at the tip of its tail and teal membranes stretched across its wings. That image carries a surprising twist for newcomers. Despite looking like a classic Western dragon, Charizard's official typing in the main series is Fire Flying, not Dragon. The choice created decades of discussion among fans, and it helped define Charizard's identity as a rule-bending icon, a dragon in form, a blaze in spirit, and a flyer in the Pokédex. The line's visual language evolves from a small salamander, Charmander, to a sharp, rebellious adolescent, Charmeleon, and finally to Charizard, which fuses strength with control. Ken Sugimori's foundational art stresses clean shapes and confident posture. Charizard's head tilts forward like a fighter, measuring distance, claws open, tail flaring brighter when emotions spike. Pokédex flavor text repeatedly ties its tail flame to life force and temperament. Calmer in rest, roaring in battle, hot enough to melt boulders. That flame isn't just a design accent, it's a meter for story beats, a visual shorthand. Directors and illustrators use to signal mood and danger. Charizard's anatomy borrows from multiple traditions. The Western dragon influence is obvious: horns, wings, bipedal stance. But there are kaiju echoes in the heavy tail and chest plate, while the long muzzle and eye shape keep it readable from a distance, crucial for animation. Color theory plays a role too. The orange body reads as warmth and excitement, while the teal wing undersides provide complementary contrast, making the whole figure pop even on muddy CRT televisions and low-resolution handheld screens of the 1990s. That palette also set Charizard apart from Blastoise's cool blues and Venusaur's verdant greens, visually communicating the fire-water-grass triangle before you ever read a type chart. The dragon but not dragon identity shaped game design decisions across generations. In Generation 6, Game Freak leaned into fan expectations by granting Charizard two distinct Mega evolutions with different typings and roles. Mega Charizard X flips the color scheme to black scales and blue flames, finally adopting Fire Dragon, typing with the Tough Claws ability-boosting contact moves. Mega Charizard Y keeps fire flying, but with Drought it turns sunlight on at entry, supercharging Flamethrower, Chalk Fire Blast, and making Solar Beam viable without a charge turn. Years later, Gigantamax Charizard in Galar reimagined it as a flaming kaiju with living magma patterns on its wings, proof that the team keeps re-articulating Charizard's myth for new mechanics while preserving its core silhouette. Even outside battle, Charizard communicates narrative archetype, the culmination of effort. Early manuals and strategy guides framed the Kanto starters as different paths for new players: Bulbasaur, the steady head start; Squirtle, the balanced route; and Charmander, the hard mode that becomes spectacular if you persevere. Clear marketing favored Charizard on box art, posters, and trading cards as a reward fantasy: train, evolve, and earn your wings. That loop, struggle, growth, dominance, made Charizard the poster child for Pokémon's promise that friendship and practice transform potential into greatness. Finally, Charizard's design has cross-media elasticity. It reads powerfully in watercolor, Sugimori era, cell shading, 90s anime, polygonal 3D, stadium era, modern PBR materials, and even minimalist logos. It can be serious, heroic, or comedic without losing identity. That adaptability is why Charizard anchored movie climaxes, graced competitive spotlights, and still sells merch 3 decades on. The character is instantly legible at thumbnail size and emotionally legible in motion, a textbook example of evergreen creature design. Charizard's anime story is one of the franchise's most beloved arcs because it dramatizes growth not as a straight line, but as a messy path that includes disobedience, ego, and reconciliation. It begins with heartbreak. Ash rescues a dying Charmander abandoned by Damien in a storm, its tail flame barely alive. That moment forges trust, but when Charmander evolves into Charmeleon, the warmth cools to attitude. Once it becomes Charizard, raw power arrives alongside outright refusal to obey. For long stretches of Kanto and the Orange Islands, Ash's calls bounce off a Pokémon that naps mid-battle or turns its back. Funny in framing, painful in consequence. What keeps the story gripping is how the anime uses battles to test the relationship. Charizard's first truly heroic showcase arrives in the Cinnabar Gym against Blaine's Magmar. The volcanic arena, the leaping transitions over lava, and the trading of fire-type blows remain peak 90s spectacle. Charizard's aerial agility and stubborn will flip the match from mismatch to instant classic. Proof that when it chooses to fight, it's a force of nature. The joy is short-lived. Disobedience returns, puncturing victories with frustration and setting up the need for deeper change. That change comes with the Caricific Valley arc, where Ash leaves Charizard to train, under Liza among a community of powerful Charizard. It's a smart narrative decision. The Valley reframes disobedience not as malice, but as pride and insecurity. Surrounded by stronger peers, Charizard finds motivation. The Valley also gives Ash space to grow as a trainer who knows when letting go is an act of love. When Charizard returns, it's transformed, not just in stats, but in respect. The payoff arrives in the Battle Frontier years later. In one of the saga's most celebrated fights, Ash calls Charizard back to face Nolan's Articuno. The matchup is unfavorable on paper. Rock weakness aside, a fire-flying type versus a legendary ice-flying bird with superior mobility. But the episode leans into character. Charizard reads wind patterns, feints, uses terrain, and displays a veteran's patience. Its victory is more than a win. It's vindication for a long emotional arc that began in the rain with a frightened Charmander. From there, Charizard represents dependable might whenever the story needs gravitas. Beyond Ash, other Charizard left. Marks. Alain's Mega Charizard X in the Kalos storyline is the embodiment of competitive obsession, stoic, ferocious, and central to one of the anime's most hyped finals, where it defeats Ash Greninja after a cinematic clash of transformations. Years later, Leon's Charizard serves as the poster for mastery in Pokémon Journeys. Its Gigantamax form becomes shorthand for the world champion's aura. Every time Charizard lands, stadiums feel smaller. Charizard's anime legacy thrives. On contrast, Sleepy Joke to Surgical Ace, Stubborn Loner to Team Cornerstone. The directors used lighting, tail glow, exhaust flames, backlit wings to mirror mood shifts. They choreographed fights to celebrate both brute force, flamethrower duels, seismic slams, and craft, mid-air grapples, thermal updrafts. Across cameos, returns, and finales, Charizard matured alongside Ash and the franchise itself, becoming the series' visual synonym for final form drama. If Pikachu is heart, Charizard is crescendo. Manga adaptations let Charizard explore tones the TV series touches only briefly. Sharper tactics, heavier stakes, and different trainer Pokémon dynamics. The most influential is Pokémon Adventures Special, which reframes Kanto's trio through rival perspectives. In this continuity, the Charmander line is often associated with Blue, the rival, whose disciplined, analytical style turns Charizard into a surgical weapon. Battles stress positioning, feints, and type exploitation with panels that freeze key moments, talons pinning, wings banking, flame plumes cutting sightlines. Where the anime mined comedy from disobedience, Adventures often emphasizes professionalism. A Charizard that acts on concise commands, an extension of a strategist's mind. Adventures also showcases Charizard's role against high-tier threats. Storylines pitted against gym leader elites, Team Rocket's biologically engineered experiments, and later legendary Pokémon. The art team loves the silhouette in monochrome. Charizard reads instantly, even as black ink veils everything but fire and eyes. Heat distortion hatch marks and speed slashes sell velocity in ways animation handles with smear frames. When Mega Evolution enters canon, the manga embraces it with gusto. Different arcs highlight Mega Charizard X and Y as discrete tools. X for close quarters power and altered resistances, Y for ranged bombardment under Sun, tying forms to character intent. Other print series give alternative lenses. Pokémon, the electric tale of Pikachu, offers a looser, whimsical, Ash-centric universe, where Charizard's size and bluster feed gags and single-page statements. Pocket Monsters gag manga pushes that further, turning Charizard into a comedic foil, still huge, still proud, but frequently punctured by slapstick. On the other end, Pokémon Origins, anime but manga adjacent in tone and composition, mirrors the Game Boy narrative. Red chooses Charmander, battles through Kanto, and forges a pragmatic, battle-focused partnership with Charizard that avoids the TV show's long disobedience arc. That portrayal, stoic trainer, mission-driven Charizard, reshaped fan expectations and directly influenced how many fan comics and doujinshi stage Charizard, a tactical ace first, a diva second. Manga also luxuriates in micro-details the TV. Schedule can't always afford, blow-by-blow command strings, bank left, wing beat feint, dragon rage now, environmental storytelling, lava vents, wind tunnels, and anatomical focus, claw grips, horn angles, wing articulation. Those panels help fans imagine Charizard's weight, turning battles into puzzles. You can feel why this creature dominates certain skies and why certain trainers obsess over mastering it. Crucially, manga keeps Charizard morally flexible. It can be a symbol of heroic resolve in a protagonist's hands or a terrifying wall when wielded by antagonists, power colored by the person commanding it. That breadth preserves mystique. Charizard in print isn't just Ash's sometimes sleepy bruiser. It's a tool of will, a mirror that reflects whether a trainer seeks glory, justice, or control. Across arcs and artists, the constant is respect. When Charizard enters a panel, the framing tightens and the stakes rise. In the core RPGs, Charizard begins as the end goal for players who chose Charmander and navigated a challenging early game. Brock and Misty punish fire-type enthusiasm, but perseverance pays off around level 36 when Charmeleon becomes Charizard. And suddenly, everything opens. Access to fly, strong special attack, solid speed, and a move pool that flexes between Fire Stab, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Coverage, Earthquake, Focus Blast, Air Slash, and Utility, Roost, Will-O-Wisp, Dragon, Dance in certain generations. The classic drawback, Double Rock weakness, remains a central balance lever, especially once Stealth Rock arrives in Generation 4 and chips half its HP on switch-in without hazard control. Entire team structures form around enabling or exploiting that fact. Generation after generation, Charizard stayed relevant through new systems. In XY, dual Mega Evolutions gave it two distinct competitive identities. Mega Charizard Y with Drought became a sunsetter and wall breaker, raining down nuclear fire blasts and instant solar beams, often paired with hazard removal and U-turn pivots. Mega Charizard X flipped to Fire Dragon with Tough Claws, enabling Dragon Dance sweeps with Flare Blitz, Dragon Claw Earthquake. Defensive profiles changed too, dumping the crippling 4X Rock weakness. Both forms shaped Gen 6 OU profoundly, and they remain threats in later formats. In Sword and Shield, Charizard returned to center stage as Champion Leon's ace and gained a Gigantamax form. Competitive Dynamax mechanics let it amplify coverage, stall or sweep. While later restricted in official Smogon tiers, in-game ladders and VGC, it carved roles with G-Max Wildfire residual damage, punishing non-fire foes across turns. Outside singles, Charizard became a flexible VGC pick. Sun modes, Life Orb nukes, or supportive sets with max airstream speed control. Spin-offs kept Charizard omnipresent. In Pokémon Stadium, it showed off early 3D flight and flamethrowers. In Pokken Tournament, it's a bruiser with aerial mix-ups and a spectacular burst attack. In Super Smash Bros., Charizard graduates from part of Pokémon Trainers Trio to a refined fighter with rock-solid kill power and armor on Flare Blitz. High risk, high reward, perfectly on brand. Pokémon Go turned Charizard Community Days into citywide events. Blast Burn became the chase move, and Mega Charizard XY later reinvigorated raid metas. Mystery Dungeon lets you inhabit Charizard's perspective as a leader figure. New Pokémon Snap frames volcanic set pieces around its dramatic silhouettes. Under the hood, Charizard's abilities help define play. Blaze boosts firepower at low HP, encouraging clutch endgame sweeps. Solar Power as a hidden ability trades HP for solar-boosted nukes in Sun teams, a staple of glass cannon builds. Move additions over time, Dragon Pulse, Roost, Focus Blast, and removals, HM Fly in modern eras, continuously reshaped how trainers build it. Meanwhile, the TCG fused nostalgia with function. The base set Holo Charizard established a collectible legend, while modern Charizard cards, GX, VMAX, anchor product lines and tournament archetypes alike. Most importantly, the games make Charizard feel earned. Whether you revive Ash-style drama in Let's Go, ride Charizard as a Poke-Ride in Alola, or accept Leon's gift post-credits in Galar, the message is consistent. Train, adapt, and the dragon that isn't, on paper, becomes the dragon you remember in your hands. Charizard isn't merely popular, it's mythic in pop culture. Ask non-fans to name a Pokémon and you'll hear Pikachu, and then Charizard. That status rests on a web of curiosities and cultural beats that keep the flame eternal. Iconic collectible. The 1999 base set Charizard card became the hobby's Mona Lisa, combining kid-era nostalgia, scarcity in high grades, and celebrity spotlights. Auctions for mint copies and special reprints turned mainstream eyes back to Pokémon, often with Charizard front and center. Modern sets routinely feature marquee Charizard art to anchor hype cycles. It's the creature that can sell a product. Line on its own. Design lore. The tail flame as life meter is one of the franchise's cleanest bits of visual storytelling. Directors leverage it for tension, rainy crises, victory, flame flares, and comedy, singed faces. Color swaps deepen the legend. The Shiny Line's Black Charizard is arguably the most coveted shiny in the series, a perfect palette that reads special even to casual viewers. Archetype power. Charizard embodies the hero's third act, earned power with a temper kept in check. The anime arc from stubborn disobedience to reliable ace maps neatly onto human adolescence. That's why Charizard resonates with fans who grew up alongside the show. It's the Pokémon that mirrors the feeling of being talented but unrefined, then finding discipline and purpose. Rivals and mirrors. Charizard's narrative works best against foils. Blastoise counterframes it as the tactician's tank. Venusaur offers nature's patience against fire's impulse. Later, matchups versus Articuno, Blaziken, and Greninja gave signature clashes that each said something new about Charizard's limits and ingenuity. Leon's Charizard stands as the aspirational mirror. What Charizard looks like at absolute mastery. Mechanical curiosities. Charizard's relationship with hazards, Stealth Rock, influenced entire metagames, spawning archetypes. Built around hazard control just to free a single sweeper, Dual Megas gave designers a living lesson in branching identity. One brand, two balanced roles, both beloved. Gigantamax layered a kaiju fantasy on top of the dragon fantasy, proof the character supports multiple fantasies without collapsing. Everywhere. At once. You can wear Charizard. Caps, jerseys, streetwear collabs, build it, model kits, display it, statues, dioramas, and play it across genres, fighters, AR, dungeon crawlers. It's a cross-media anchor that licensors trust. The silhouette on a thumbnail boosts CTR. The name in a title boosts click-through. That's not hype. It's 30 years of data about what audiences respond to. Community stories beyond official. Canon Charizard thrives in fan fiction, speedruns, nuzlocks, and challenge videos. Can you beat Kanto with only a Charizard? Spawns strategies and memes. Artists iterate on elemental variants, Blue Flame legends, Ashwing myths, because the shape invites reinterpretation. Cosplayers craft foam horns and LED tails. Card collectors chase alt arts. Competitive players revisit Sun teams just to feel that fire blast under drought again. Film and event moments, from cinematic Ash finales to stadium-scale Worlds openings, where a giant Charizard looms over crowds, the brand uses Charizard as shorthand for final boss energy. It's the curtain raiser and the curtain call. When a trailer needs a beat that says Pokémon means business, they cut to Charizard, exhaling a plume that lights the frame. In the end, Charizard endures because it fulfills a universal fantasy. You start with something small, you struggle, you learn, and one day, you soar. It's simultaneously the kid's dream of a loyal dragon friend and the adult's memory of overcoming a hard beginning. Fire burns out when it lacks fuel. Charizard's fuel is an ecosystem of stories, mechanics, art, and memories that never stop feeding the flame. That's why, decades later, the roar still lands, the wings still widen, and the tail still lights the way.